For new parents, getting baby to sleep through the night can be one of the biggest challenges they face. At the largest pediatric practice in New York City, Tribeca Pediatrics, doctors believe sleep training can begin at as young as 2 months. It can be tough medicine, but they say the benefits to both parents and children are great. Here with the story is WSJ health reporter Sumathi Reddy. Sumathi, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Is there any topic that is more frequently and heatedly discussed among new parents than sleep training?
No, not on the parent listservs.
Oh my goodness, it's such a big deal. Now, at Tribeca Pediatrics, they say it's okay to start at 2 months, which is a lot earlier than what most pediatric practices recommend. Is that right?
Yeah, so most pediatricians and sleep experts, the typical recommendation is try this between 4 and 6 months.
4 and 6 months.
But there does anecdotally seem to be sort of a movement towards starting a little bit earlier. Now, Tribeca Pediatrics is sort of at the forefront of this. They've been long advocating for the 2-month mark.
And what have they seen within their practice? What kinds of results are they claiming?
So they claim that almost all their patients have success with this, and that with minimal problems, like it's sort of a 3 to 4 day process, 20 to 40 minutes of crying the first night, you know, maybe 10 the second, and then by the third or fourth, you pretty much have a quiet night.
It's done. Now, what does research tell us? Because I know so many parents are worried that they're doing some sort of harm to their child by letting them cry without responding to their cries. Research tells us that's not the case, though, right?
Yeah, experts are pretty clear on this. There's consensus on this, that there's no neurological harm, there's no long-term psychological or emotional negative impacts.
No
to
harm
sleep
to the parent-child bond.
No, there was a study from 2012 by some Australian researchers that actually followed kids 5 years out and found that 5 years later, the kids who were sleep trained versus not were the same.
That's good to know, because as a parent, I can attest to the fact that I sleep trained my second child, and it was a miracle. It's life-changing. It really is for a lot of parents.
I agree.
So what is the typical sleep training method? You put them to sleep at what, 7 to 7? Is that the ideal goal?
So there's obviously different variations.
Okay.
The Tribeca Pediatrics one is sort of the extinction or quiet out method, which is close the door, put them to bed whatever time you normally do, which is usually like 8 o'clock, 7:38. Close the door, do not go back in until like 12 hours later.
So even if your child is crying up to an hour, you ignore those cries?
Yes. So I actually spoke to a sleep expert, a very prominent sleep expert, who said that his second child, they let him cry for 2 hours.
Right.
And this is a sleep expert. And so he said, I know there was no harm there. Of course, it was hard to listen to for him, particularly his wife. But
put headphones on, right? That's such a far cry from when we used to sleep with a baby monitor next to you and you would jump at any little noise, right? So no baby monitors, just...
No baby monitors, Don't watch your kid, don't listen to it. Try to sleep as far away from them as you can. If you have a house, different floors, if you have...
Now, here's what always messes a lot of people up, though. Let's say you have a beautifully sleep-trained infant, but 9 months, they start teething, and then they wake up several times in the middle of the night because of teething, or maybe they have a cold. What do you do then?
There's always these regressions. They're not really regressions, though. They're sort of developmental milestones, usually.
Right.
They're either when your kid's sick or you're traveling, or when they're working on something like walking or pulling up or sitting up. So then you basically have to stick to what you...
So even if they're going through pain because of the teething, you don't go in and give them a piece of ice, you just still ignore the teething?
No, I think if they're sick, there'll probably be some intervention.
Right.
But once they're better, you have to kind of quickly go back to...
Because they get used to it really quickly.
Exactly. Even one day can throw everything apart.
Right. Keep it in mind. All right, Sumathi Reddy, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.